to a new video from Reviews on Anything. My name is Peter, and today we're gonna do some chip tuning. Now, if you follow this channel, you've seen earlier chip tuning videos that I've made. I've done power box and a bit more complicated tuning as well. But both of those things were standard things you order online and you sort of put them in your car, and that's the end of the story, really. Today we're gonna go to RS Tuning here in Eindhoven in the Netherlands, not far from where I live. And RS Tuning is custom tuning, meaning that they actually take the time to talk to you. What are your wishes? What kind of car do you drive? What kind of driver are you? And then we'll tailor the software of your car to exactly the needs that you have, also within the safety margins that exist within the car. So they're actually going to sit and look at the software for a day, really go deep into the software and see what is possible with your car. So it's very different from the things that you order online, no matter how expensive or tricky they might sound. Those are generic tunes, those are generic things that certainly do something for your car, but you never know what they're really doing. So today is going to be interesting because we're going to have a little look behind the scenes on what it is that makes tuning and custom tuning in this case so special, and how good it actually can be for your car. Now, the car that we're starting with is my 2015 Mark II SKoda Superb with the 2-liter diesel, the big one with 170 horsepower out of the factory, and I think about 350 Newton meters as we get on the highway here. So, you know, not a slow car to begin with, and with the tuning I've already done, it's certainly not slow in any way, shape or form. So I'm very curious to see what RS Tuning can actually do, what they can find in the current software versions, and how they can improve the car. So obviously I had a few ideas and wishes about this tune, this modification as well. So when RS Tuning asked me, so what do you want to achieve here? The answer was obviously not a race car, because this is a SKoda Superb, so it's huge, it's heavy, it's not suitable in any way, shape or form for traffic light racing. That's just not the nature of the car. Not to mention that I transport my family in this on a daily basis, so you know, a race car character is just not desirable, not practical, and not something I want. What I do want though is, I spend most of my time in this car on the highway, a lot of it in and around Germany. What I do want is that torque, that power that the diesel engine is, you know, so suitable for. You know, when there's roadworks, you're doing 50 and there's an Audi flashing behind you, then I want to be able to hit the throttle and get all that power and keep that Audi behind me. So that was sort of the brief that RS Tuning went to work with. And when I say went to work, is they really do work on the car. They test drive it, they do some live data logging, and they really look at the individual characteristics of the car even before they get started. Once they got that baseline, they get to work. It's a very technical story, obviously. They do a full deep dive into the software and start modifying everything in such a way that it becomes a very smooth blend of what the car can do, what your wishes are, without it being jerky or annoying or, you know, undrivable. So they really work on your car, other than, you know, what you get with sort of standard tuning that you order online maybe, is where they just you know, do plus 20% everywhere and all is done. So they need the car for a full day in order to do those test drives, in order to make the modifications, do more test drives and really feel how the car is responding. But after that day, you really have a custom solution for you, for your wishes and for your car. Interesting as well is that they take all the safety margins that the engine comes with and that the car comes with, and all the limitations of engine, gearbox, temperatures and so on. They take that fully into consideration, because it would be pretty easy just to say, you know, plus 300% power everywhere, ignore all sensors and safety warnings, and off you go. Which you will go quite fastly to the end of the street, and then your engine will blow up, which is obviously not desirable. So they don't do that at all. They even, when I got the car back, said, you know, listen, we put a modification on it with a certain amount of power, but we personally feel that you should do one step back, do a little less power because it's more durable for your gearbox, more durable for your engine, and it improves the overall drivability of the car. And they actually let me feel the difference, which was small but noticeable, between those two modifications. Said, no, we really recommend to go for one step lower. If you want, we can still do the higher option, but we reckon the lower option is better. So they really, you know, are in constant feedback with the car and with what is possible, but also with me as the customer, saying, you know, this is what we can potentially do, but we recommend that something else is actually slightly better for you and for your car. that is actually an interesting point to touch on. I had a modification on my car already. If you've seen early videos from tuning software I've done. So they had a look at that as well. And there was, you know, a few things that they did. They said, yeah, okay, that's just fine. That's a standard tuning modification. But there were also things that they weren't too happy with, looking into that sort of updated tuned software. Stuff with temperatures, stuff with, you know, modifications made on one spot in the software, not connecting to the modifications on another spot. So they said, yeah, you know, there are modifications and you do have some more power, but there's certainly things we can improve and do better and make safer. So that was interesting as well, that they even took that into account, saying, you know, listen, there is modification already, but we reckon we should do a few things different and better. So that's really cool, and I think that's the personal touch that you're paying for, and also the personal touch that makes this product so cool. So I've had the car back for about a week now, and I've had time to sort of collect my thoughts and get a good feel of the car in different circumstances. Interestingly, maybe not surprisingly, but RS Tuning delivered exactly the kind of car that I asked them to deliver. Not a race car by any stretch of the imagination, but a properly fast car for the scenario where I use it most, which is on the highway and sort of, let's say, medium speed up to higher speed situations. So like I mentioned earlier in the video, the road works. Afterwards, I want to hit the throttle when I'm on the German autobahns. I want to keep that pesky Audi behind me, even at higher speed. And it has certainly transformed the whole car in terms of drivability. So a good example of that linear power delivery and the place where I want the power to be delivered is right now as we are going on the highway. Third gear, 40, 50, 60, 80, 90, 100, 110. It is a fast car. It was already a car that was no slouch, but with this extra tune and this extra power, you can definitely feel that it has, you know, a significant boost in performance. Now, of course, the car is still limited mainly by the gearing, because that hasn't changed, so I'm pretty sure the top speed is still the same. But the way the speed is delivered, the additional torque, the additional performance, with the sort of smooth power delivery, much more steadier and predictable power delivery, it is just a much more pleasurable car to drive and a much more coherent car to drive. Where the old tuning had, you know, a bit of a step up in performance, you can really see also in the software they showed me that they just selected part of the rev range and added 20% power in the software. What RS Tuning has done is obviously much more elaborate in terms of making that delivery smooth, making sure there's no strange steps in your power delivery, and it makes the whole car a lot more drivable and a lot more enjoyable to drive as well, especially with passengers and little kids in the back. You don't want a jerky car, which, you know, you learn how to drive with in the end, but like it is right now, it is much more refined. And that is maybe the big takeaway of what RS Tuning does. Sure, you know, adding power is not that difficult, technically speaking, but doing it in a refined and predictable and drivable way, that's where the real magic happens. And that is something, you know, with custom chip tuning like RS Tuning does, is something that you can really get. And you can really get a car tailored to your wishes, which is exactly what I got, which is something to be applauded, I think. In all fairness, you pay for that. It's not, you know, cheap per se, but if you put it next to the price of a car, especially the price of a new car, it is actually not expensive at all. And I think it's an upgrade definitely worth making for anybody that buys any car, second-hand or new, that just wants more sort of performance out of the car, obviously, because that is in the end, you know, the fundamental goal is to get more performance out of your car, but to get it in such a way that it's drivable, pleasurable, and also durable within all the safety margins of your engine, I think is pretty cool, and it's definitely an upgrade worth having. Signing off for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel as well. That is always a big boost for us and for what we do. And definitely check out RS Tuning, like I said, to see what they might have to offer for you. Until then though, I'll check you guys in the next video. Cheers!